Hi everyone. Um, I am Mr. Salwadi Viresh Kumar, working as assistant professor in IT department at Saint Martin Engineering College. Today I am going to lecture on the phase of compiler construction. Before starting this phase of compiler construction, we should know basics of a compiler. What is the basics of compiler? The compiler main function is the high level language into convert into high level language into low level language. What is high level language? The high level language is the human understandable language. That human understandable language converted into machine understandable language. What is the machine understandable language? Machine understandable language is the zeros one binary language only. So the compiler converts the whole code from high level language into low level language and gives the error report to the user. So in this high level language conversion process, in this current process, we have four phases are there. One is pre-processor, another one is compiler, next one is assembler, next linker and loader. So we have right. First, what is compiler? The compiler is a program that can read a program in one language, that is high level language, and translate into the equivalent program in another language, that target machine. Next, an important role of the compiler is to report any error in the source program that in detect during the translation process. Okay, now this is the source program .c. Suppose you can take one program in C language .c. The compiler converts the source program into target program and produces error report to the user. This is the compiler. Next, what are the four phases of compiler? These are the cousins of compilers. First is four phases: the preprocessor, compiler, assembler, linker, loader. Okay, what is the preprocessor? What is the function of preprocessor? The preprocessor taken input as a source code and do the some process, and it convert the high level language to pure high level language, then send to the next level, the main compilation process. The main compilation process, compiler compiles the whole program, sent to the program, that file sent to the next level. The assembler, giving that input from compiler, that code converted into machine language. The linker links all the files, the links the libraries and the files and modules, then sent to the loader. So one by one can say that what is the preprocessor. What is preprocessor? What is the function of preprocessor? A preprocessor is a tool that process source code before compilation, performing tasks like macro substitutions, file inclusion, and conditional compilation. Okay. Next, it simplifies or transforms code, make it ready for the main compilation phase. Okay. The preprocessor takes the source code, takes the high level language, that high level language converted into pure high level language by using some like macro substitution, file inclusion, and conditional compilation. Then what is the compiler? Main function of compiler? Compiler, it is a translator which converts the source code from high level language to low level language without changing the meaning. Next, what about the assembler? The assembler, it is a software which converts assembly code into machine code, is called assembler. Next, what about linker? A linker is a tool in the compilation process that combines object files generated by the compiler into a single executable file. Okay, in this linker, allocation and reallocation is there in the linker. It means allocation means get the memory portion from operating system and storing the object data. In relocation means it maps the relative address to the physical address and relocate to the object code. This is the function of linker. The linker is a tool in the compilation process that combines all object files generated by the compiler into a single executable file. Then In this linker, the two functions, allocation means, it means get the memory portion from operating system and storing the object data. The relocation means, it maps the relative address to the physical address and relocating the object code. Then what is the function of loader? The loader, it loads the executable file into permanent storage. The loader, it loads the executable file into permanent storage. So next, here first the preprocessor take the source code. This is the high level language. Source code or human understandable code. This human understandable code or source code take the input as an input. Preprocessor take the input as a source code, then process some micro institutions. Next, they send to that high level language, convert as a pure high level language, then before send to the compiler, the main compilation process. The compiler take the input from preprocessor, that preprocessed code, that pure high level language, then the compiler compiles that code, whole code at a time. Okay, then it gives the error report. In this lecture, we are discuss about compiler, how to construct the compiler, what are the phases of compiler, compile construction. Okay, then next, the compiler targets assembly code, create the assembly code, that is the object code. That assembler, the convert, that takes the input from compiler output file, then this assembler converts the code object code to, from object code to assembly language. Then linker links all the relocatable machine code. The linker links all the library files, relocatable, all the relocatable and modules, and then created one executable file. That executable file or machine code that sent to the loader. The loader loads that executable file, saves, locate into main memory. These are the how to transfer, how to convert high level language into low level language. In this high level language into low level language, we have 4 phases. One is preprocessor, second one is compiler, third one is assembler, fourth one is linker and loader. Okay, in every human understandable language converted into machine language. Why? Because the machine does not understand human understandable language, that is source code. The source code must be converted into machine understandable language. In this situation, we can use the language processor. Some types of what are the language processor? One of the compiler is one of the language translator, one of the language processor. Interpreter also one of the language translator. Okay. Now then another compiler and interpreter is the same language processor. Okay. What are the difference between compiler and interpreter? The compiler is a translator that takes input, that is high level language, and produces the output of low level language, that is machine language or assembly language. What about interpreter? An interpreter directly executes the source code or an intermediate representation line by line, statement by statement. Here main difference between the compiler and the interpreter is the compiler compiles the whole code at a time. Okay, but the interpreter compiles the code and execute the code instruction by instruction, line by line, statement by statement. Okay, suppose in C language we have 100 lines of code. We have 100 lines of code, blah blah. Okay. In interpreter, suppose Python, maybe here 100 lines of code. Suppose in this 100 lines of code in C language, in this, suppose we can occurred the second error occurred in second line. This second line impact on rest of the code. That errors are displayed in C language. But in this Python, the 100 lines of code in the Python, suppose error occurred, if error occurred in 10th line, then interpreter stop the compilation and give the error report to the one statement. In that exactly 10th line, the error occurred in 10th line. So rest of the code are the risky code. The remaining start from first line to ninth line is the safe code. This is the safe code. The rest of the remaining. Here, the in the compiler in interpret the in the compiler, it is difficult to identify the difficult to difficult to find solve the problems, solve the error. It is difficult to error handling. But in this Python, it is very easy to solve that, handle that errors. Okay, next. Then another difference, the compiled code runs faster in compilation comparison to interpreted code. Here the interpreter using the interpreted codes run slower than compiler. Okay, next, in case of no error, the compiler converts the source code into machine code. Here errors are displayed in every single line. It is very easy to find and solve that error handling in this interpreter. The compilation in compiler is the faster than interpreter. These are the difference between compiler and interpreter. Both are language processors, language translators. The compiler uses in C language and C++, C sharp. In the interpreter, Python, Ruby, some languages are using that interpreter. Okay, next. Now we are going to start how to construct the compiler. Before construct the construct the compiler, we should know about this phases. We have constructed 6 phases we are using. What is that? Lexical analysis, one of the phase, first phase, and second one is syntax analysis, third one semantic analysis, fourth one intermediate code generation, fifth one code code optimization, sixth one target code generation. Okay, next. These are the these are 6 phases are there in compile construction phases. These 6 are, and another 2 components having. What are the another 2 components? Symbol table and error handler. Okay, the lexical analyzer takes the source program as a input, then doing some process that process code to send to the next level. That's next level. That next level is a syntax analyzer. The syntax analyzer takes the input from lexical analyzer, that the syntax doing some functions, then send to the semantic analyzer. Semantic analyzer takes the input from the top level, that is the syntax analyzer. That semantic analyzer process some process, then send to the that code to the intermediate code. That intermediate code generator takes some process, that process code sent to the next level up to target program. Here, what is the function of symbol table? What is the function of error handling? What is the function of lexical analysis? What is the function of syntax analyzer? What is the function of semantic analyzer? What is the function of intermediate code generator? What is the function of code optimizer? What is the function of code generator? We will discuss now. I'm going to discuss that. Okay, next. What is lexical analyzer? The lexical analysis or lexical analyzer is also called scanner. Okay, in this the first phase of compiler is a lexical analysis or scanner, scanning or scanning. The lexical analyzer reads the streams of characters, making up the source program, and groups the characters into a meaningful sequence called lexemes. Okay, next, for each lexeme, the lexical analyzer produces as a output a token of the form that is processed onto the subsequent phase, that is syntax analysis phase. Now, For example, suppose a source program contains the assignment statement, that is position is equal to initial plus rate star 60. Here position is the identifier, is equal is the assignment operator, initial is the identifier 2, plus is the plus operator, rate identifier 3, star one of the operator, 60 the identifier, okay, or floating point. Then where after lexical analyzer has the sequence of tokens as this is position the identifier 1 is equal assignment operator, id initial id identifier 2 plus one of the operator, rate identifier 3, star one of the operator, 16 the real number. Okay, these are the tokens. The main function of lexical analyzer is that taking the input, the source program, it converted that generated tokens, the output generated as a tokens. The tokens are sent to the next level. That is that. What is the next phase? The next phase is syntax analysis phase. What is syntax analysis phase? What is the function of syntax analysis phase? Okay, this is the syntax analysis. The second phase of the compiler is syntax analysis or parsing. The syntax analysis also called parsing. What is the function of syntax analysis? The parser uses the first components of the tokens produced by the lexical analyzer. Lexical analyzer to create a tree like intermediate representation, okay, that depicts the grammatical structure of the token stream. Okay, a typical representation is a syntax tree in which each interior node represented an operation and the children of the node represent the arguments of the operation. The position, this is the first, you can take some example or some small statement, that is source code position is equal initial plus rate into 60. Okay, these are the input. As input, the syntax analyzer as input, take the input, this is id1 id2 is equal to id2 plus id3 plus 60. Okay, these are the tokens generated by first phase. Then the second phase taken as the input these tokens, then it creates one parsing tree, that is like this. Okay, id1 is equal to id2 plus id3 star 60. Okay, first you can take 60. Right here, take as a position. Okay, initial plus rate star into, this is the statement. Okay, right, it produces, the lexical analyzer produces as a tokens. How to the id identifier comma 1 is equal to one of the token, identifier 2 initial plus one of the identifier, okay, rate identifier 3, okay, star one of the operator 60, one of the real number. These are the tokens generated by the first phase. Then the second phase, the parser. First phase also called scanner. Second phase, the syntax analysis also called parser. The parser, what is the function of syntax syntax analysis? The creating one tree, construct one tree using tokens. Okay, now first of all you can take star, okay, id 360, then can take plus symbol plus operator, id to sorry id comma to then equal operator id comma 1. These are the tree parse tree. The lexical analyzer generated tokens the tokens generated tokens are sent to the next phase, that is syntax analysis. The syntax analysis using this tokens, by using these tokens creating one parse tree. Then this parse tree sent to next level. That next phase is semantic analysis. Now next, okay. Syntax analyzer. Okay, next the parse tree gives the statement like this only. Next, what is the third phase? What is the semantic analysis? The semantic analysis, this semantic analyzer uses the syntax tree and the information in the symbol table to check the source program for semantic consistency with the language definition. Here the compiler's structure in these 6 phases, the first and second, third. First phase lexical analyzer, second phase syntax analyzer, third phase semantic analyzer. These semantic three phases are front end, and three phases are considered as one analysis phase. Remaining 3 are synthesis phase. The compiler construction phases 2 parts. One part is analysis phase, second part is synthesis phase. In analysis also called front end, and synthesis part also called back end. Okay, in this synthesis part, in this phase of compiler construction, we have 2 another components, that is the symbol table. Those are symbol table, and one is error handling. In symbol table, what is the function symbol table? The symbol table stores the information of all the phases. First, the symbol table takes the input, takes the data from input data from 3 phases, that is the analysis and analysis phase. The analysis phase, what is the analysis phase? That's 3 phases. Analysis part means 3 phases. What is lexical, syntax, semantic? It takes, and that symbol table takes the data input save the data from analysis phase. Then the data used remaining parts, remaining phase, that is synthesis phase. In the synthesis phase, we have 3 phases: intermediate code generation, code optimization, code generation, the target code generation. Okay, the data takes, and the data the symbol table takes the data from 3 analysis phase. That data uses to remaining phase, that is that synthesis phase. Okay, next, semantic analysis. What is the semantic analyzer uses the syntax tree. Okay, and then here the semantic analysis check the errors. Okay, right. The semantic analyzers use the syntax tree and the information in the symbol table and check the source program for semantic consistency with the language definition. Here id, here 60, the floating pointer integer, so that's why it check the checking. Okay, and okay, int1 same, this is using that error checking here. Okay, next phase, intermediate code generation. In this process of translating the source program into a target code, or a compiler may construct one or more intermediate representation, okay, which can have a variety of forms. Syntax tree are a form of a intermediate representation. Every program, every phase some representation. The lexical analyzer representing as a tokens, syntax analyzer representing as a trees, semantic analyzer also representing as a trees. Next, intermediate code as a representing some intermediate syntax trees in form of intermediate representation. This intermediate representation should have two important properties. What is the properties? It should be a simple and easy to produce, and it should be easy to translate into the target machine. Okay, in our example, the intermediate representation used in 3 address code representation. Here the main function in this intermediate code generation, the representation, but in our example, the intermediate representation using the 3 address code, which consists of sequence of assembly like instruction with 3 operands for instruction. What is that? T1 is equal into to float 60. It created by this 3 address code generated by using semantic analyzer's output. What is that? T1 temporary storage is equal into to float 60, and T1 ID into 3. ID means ID star T1. Okay, T3 is equal ID2 plus T2. ID1 is equal T3. Is based on this is constructed based on previous phases output. Okay, next, these are the intermediate code generation. Intermediate code generation, the data represented by using 3 address code. Okay, right. Next, final code optimization is the 5th step. This is the optional. The code optimization means the reducing the code. Code optimization means reducing the code. Unwanted steps removed from this code. What is the main target of this code? Is save the address and faster the code, and the main machine independent code optimization phase attempts to improve the intermediate code. Okay, then so the better target code will result the objective for performing optimization or faster execution, shorter code or target code that consumes less power. Okay, for our example, the optimization code is, this is the previous four session. Okay, these are the code optimization to reduce the code. Next one is code optimization. This is the code generation. The code generator takes input in the intermediate representation of the source program and maps into the target language, main language. So now I am going to see some phase video on this structure, this phases of construct phase. Okay. Right. These are the high level language. Main function, compiler construction phase, main function is the high level, converts the high level language into low level language. Okay, different stages of the compiler. What is the first phase? Compiler, first phase is Lexicel source code, pure high level language, the preprocessor output, the pure high level language, lexical analyzer. Second phase, syntax analyzer, semantic analyzer, intermediate code generator, code optimizer, code generator. Okay, another 2 components, symbol table and error handling. Next one we want target code. Okay, first the lexical analyzer, token generation, remove white spaces, and in lexical analyzer function. Okay, these are the input and output. The output in lexical analyzer takes the input source code and generated output as a tokens. Okay, syntax analyzer parser the tokens and converts into trees. Okay, syntax analyzer parser. Production rules, these are the rules. Okay, ID1 plus ID2 3. Okay, next, semantic analyzer, tokens parse tree and verifies it is semantically right or wrong. Okay, next, okay, into hello, these are the example of one example in semantic analyzer. Okay, next phase is intermediate code generation. What is the semantically verified parse tree? Then construct intermediate representation. Okay, next, these are the various types of intermediate code may be generated. Some 3 address code representation. Code is the very option. This is the very okay. The code optimization with the function is to reduce the unwanted code. Okay, then these are the phase of compiler construction. Okay, thank you, and thank you all of you, thank you very much.